what is a masque? As defined by the Webster's Dictionary, a masque is a short, allegorical, dramatic entertainment of the 16th and 17th centuries performed by masked actors. The masque in England dates back to the ancient custom called mumming. The first mummers performed plays without words, reenacting old stories, legends, and myths, particularly those about St. George. The term mummer comes from the Old English word mum, meaning silent. Traditionally associated with Christmas, masked players would process through the streets to the Great Hall, accompanied by music and torchlights. For the sake of entertainment, the disguised players were safe to make fun of their betters without retaliation. The form of entertainment known as the masque first became popular in the court of King Henry VIII. These lavish productions often starred members of the royal court. These lavish and dramatic entertainments were often in verse and usually performed in masques. These masques were often allegorical stories which suggested parallels between the person being honored or the occasion being celebrated and some mythological personage or event. In the Tudor court, Queen Catherine of Aragon was 6 years older than her husband, Henry VIII. After several years of marriage, Catherine failed to produce a male heir to the throne. In 1526, Henry met the lovely and much younger Anne Boleyn. Henry had lavish masques staged in which he would star. In his disguise, he could flirt with whomever he liked, while his identity could be publicly concealed. Well, we all know how that ended for Anne. After King Henry's death, his son Edward VI of England took the throne, but the boy king only lived shortly, dying in 1553. After young Edward died, Queen Mary took over the throne. She was not what you would call a party girl, and the masque took a back seat until Mary died and her younger sister Elizabeth took the throne. The Virgin Queen liked sport, young men, and the gaieties of theater. To impress her, the Queen's favorite courtier, Robert Dudley, once spent a great fortune preparing entertainment for one of the Queen's visits. He hired George Gascoigne to create a new masque for Elizabeth. George Gascoigne wrote the Song of Protheus. We yield you humble thanks in mighty Neptune's name, both for ourselves and therewithal for yonder seemly dame. Though impressed with Gascoigne's work, the masque themes often emphasized traditional heroes defending their vulnerable women. This theme might have not sat well with the Queen, who referred to herself as a prince. The masque still had not regained its once popular status. It was the rule of James I of England that saw the return of the masque to popularity. He sponsored the great Cavalier poet Ben Jonson. Jonson's masques displayed his wit, versatility, and contained some of his best lyric poetry. Though Ben Jonson's works were entertaining to begin with, his relationship with Inigo Jones took the masque to a whole new level. Not that Inigo. Thank you, yes, that Inigo. Inigo Jones traveled abroad at the end of the century and was very influenced by Italian architecture. In the early 1600s, Joan was employed by Queen Anne to provide costumes and settings for the masques at court. Here we see Inigo's design for the great set of Coelum Britannica, written by Thomas Carew. These are costumes from the Masque of Blackness, written by Ben Jonson in 1606. Here we see costume designs for the Masque of Queens, written by Ben Jonson in 1609. Costumes from Oberon, the Fairy King. Aren't they lovely? He was also a great architect, planning stunning buildings like this one, the Wilton House, situated at Wilton, near Salisbury in Wiltshire. But who cares about all that? I mean, look at those costumes. The clever use of oak leaves in the dagging, the flowing silks, the details of the puff and slash and the... Right, back to masks. Though Jones contributed greatly to the growing grandeur of the theater, it was Jonson who kept the art alive. After Ben Jonson's retirement, masks lost their literary value and became mainly vehicles for spectacle. In 1625, Charles I and his young queen Henrietta Maria took the English throne. The two delighted in presenting masks to each other. The English Civil War put an end to the royal court and to the court masks. Thanks to Oliver Cromwell and the Puritans, the British mask never recovered its splendor. But the Masque lives on in the works of Ben Jonson and his fellow Masque writers, still in publication today. And the splendor of Inigo Jones's groundbreaking sets and costumes lives on in modern stagecraft. Today's theater would not be the same without the lavish spectacle of the Masque.